Welcome back to Vikes with a Mike. As always, your host, JC, with my co-host and good friend, Tyler Williams. Coming at you as sad Vikings fans. Very, very sad Vikings fans. Took a fat L
on
to
the
Green
screen,
Bay. The number one. Well, hey, they're watching. Maybe some of them are watching on YouTube and they see it. Green Bay Packers beat the Minnesota Vikings, the number one seed, NFC. Green Bay Packers.
That's disgusting.
Super Bowl will run through Lambeau for the NFC. Your Vikings fall to 7-9, practically guaranteeing some major changes within the organization after the next game on Sunday. Final score is 37-10. Again, your Minnesota Vikings taking home a season-ending loss. Now, there's a lot that happened. A lot that happened leading up to this game, a lot that happened during this game, and a lot that happened following this game. And we're going to dig into all of it. We're also going to get into the upcoming game a little bit, what, our viewpoints are on it, where we think this game is going to end, where your Vikings are probably going to end, and then we'll get into some games around the NFL, which we haven't done in a little while. So for those of you who love that segment, I know I sure do, especially when my Raiders are performing well. And since very excited for us to get into all of that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Again, your Minnesota Vikings, 7-9, road to the playoffs, going through Lambeau, had a chance to stay alive by winning this game, and we could not get her done. Just couldn't get it done. So the season ends prematurely. Now, your Minnesota Vikings, they obviously, just like every team, were in control of their own destiny last week. And 2 weeks ago, I should say, they took a loss to LA. That was absolutely disgusting. And we talked about that. If you haven't heard that episode, go back and listen to it. And then the lowest vaccinated team in the NFL popped multiple positives. We were out, we were without Cookie during the LA game. And then Kirk Cousins pops positive. Literally, I think it was the day before we recorded. So I think
it was Friday.
I think we were able to
Friday morning. I literally woke up to the news of that too.
I did too. Yes, I did.
Wake up to the news. I checked Twitter and I'm like, Kirk Cousins tested positive, and I'm just like,
It was
that's Minnesota Vikings. I'm not surprised. I wasn't surprised when it happened.
It was like, I think I even remember saying this.
We talked. I remember we talked. I think me and you actually talked about that, like Kirk testing positive, like, and it wasn't like a joke.
No, I know, but I think that you and me talked about it specifically, like in a joking but also realistic, saying, like, oh, it's going to happen over the week that we play the Packers. Obviously, our season's going to be on the line, and he's going to pop positive. And I mean, it sucks that we said it because, like, I know you and we probably didn't knock on wood or whatever. So there's going to be plenty of people that are like, they jinxed us. It's all your fault. All this stuff. No, it's all Kirk Cousins' fault. Should have been vaccinated. I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying whether or not he was vaccinated, he still would have missed the game. The point is, if he was vaccinated, he probably, actually, I guess we don't know, but there's a much higher likelihood that he wouldn't have ever gotten COVID. That's the entire point, dumb-dumbs. Anyways, your Minnesota Vikings roll into Lambeau, missing their starting quarterback after having basically an entire week of him practicing with the ones, assuming he was going to play. And they roll out Sean Mannion, much to the dismay of Vikings fans. Quite honestly, I think the Vikings team. Like, this was a guy.
Speaking of that, I just want to say something.
For it.
Just real quick. Sean Mannion, I love how Zim before this game said the team was going to rally around him. I didn't see anyone.
No, he didn't say that, though. He said, I think.
He
said, I think this team is going to rally around them.
And he was completely wrong. No one rallied around Sean Mannion, though.
But yet again, like, and we're gonna kind of get into Mike Zimmer and changes that need to happen in this organization. Not really today, but more so next week. This is the epitome of why Mike Zimmer should not be a head coach in the NFL. You should not be saying to the media and to the fans and in a public message, you should not be saying, at least in that way, I think my team is going to rally around the second string quarterback. No, you should come out and you should say, this team is going to rally around this quarterback because we're going to coach him and put them in the best situation to win. You're not just, I don't know. That just really pissed me off, the way that he worded that. And then especially the way that he praised the smartness and how Adam Zimmer.
Oh, let's not talk about the arm strength.
Mannion has the best arm in the NFL, and all the just absolutely disgusting things coming out of the Zimmer's mouths. Anyways, Sean Mannion literally comes off COVID-19 reserve list. Barely
practiced all week, let alone.
Yeah, it wasn't even practicing with the team while, Kirk was there, or they were under the assumption that he was going to start still. At least getting reps with the twos. No, he wasn't even doing that.
No.
Sean Mannion comes off the COVID list and gets told that morning, hey, Kirk pop positive, you're going to be the starting quarterback on Sunday night. I think all of Minnesota, every Vikings fan, collectively rolled their eyes. Number one, because we all knew, again, that this was going to happen. This just felt like it was destiny.
Yep.
And number two, because it's like our worst fears are imagined. That this defensive-minded coach that's completely shutting down our supposedly superstar quarterback and his weapons, and the quarterback now pops positive, and finally, for once in our lives, the Minnesota Vikings have used a top 3 pick to take a quarterback in the last draft. And not only has he been a healthy scratch for a majority of the games of 2021 season, but now an opportunity comes up where he can come in a game where his style of play, a dual threat quarterback style, might really help us to stay alive in a playoff race that we are barely alive in and need to keep winning games. And instead, this dumb coaching staff, this dumb head coach decides to trot out the most immobile, slow-looking doofus to ever play quarterback that I have seen in the NFL. And I just recently watched Ben Roethlisberger play probably his last game ever in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So, yes, for all of you that are listening to this right now and are like, wow, he's got a lot of anger and he's kind of getting loud. Yeah, I'm angry, man, because it's stupid. The amount of money that people give to this organization, and for them to be dumb, to put the team in these stupid situations when everybody knew that Sean Mannion was going to come out and give us absolutely nothing, at least as far as helping us to win the game. When Kellen Mond, yeah, sure, he could have given you enough to lose the game, but he also could have, in a world where he, is given a chance, given practice with ones, given an opportunity to show up and calm his nerves and get in rhythm. Who knows what he turns into? The dude's an athlete.
So he's got a good arm.
He's got a good arm, and he can run. He's at the very least, he can run more than Sean Mannion. But the point is, right, this offense looked dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. And we knew it going into this game.
We knew it was going to be bad. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I thought maybe it would be a little better. but it was worse than I actually thought it was going to be.
Yeah, quite honestly, I thought we'd put up like at least 2 touchdowns. I figured the amount of practice that Sean had going in, the fact that he knew from the get-go basically that he was going to be the starter, that was going to be able to kind of simmer in his mind, and he was going to be able to conquer that, in at least what I thought.
Yeah.
Going into this was that he was going to be able to conquer that. I thought for sure that we were at least going to score 2 touchdowns, 14 points in this game. But no, we weren't even able to do that. I mean, just drive after drive, 3 and outs, punting so many times.
Throwing short of the sticks every single third down.
Yes, throwing short of the sticks, or not even throwing at all, taking sacks in super inopportune times. When your defense is holding Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers at home to 6 points well through, I think we were into the second quarter. They held it. No, yeah. They had 3 points going into the second quarter. So,
yep.
I think it was within the last 5 minutes that they scored maybe 10 points or something like that. Absolutely disgusting play by the offense. Sure, Sean, man, you didn't turn the ball over. Great. You went 22 of 36 for 189 yards and a single touchdown. That touchdown was thrown to KJ Osborne in basically garbage time in the third quarter.
Literally 80 of those yards were literally just garbage time. Green Bay just felt bad, and they were just letting him check the ball down, basically, because we were too scared to throw downfield the entire game.
Your fourth leading receiver is Garrett Bradbury with 21 yards.
Why does that make me laugh looking at the stat line?
Which, by the way, I do have to say, that was a fantastic play by Garrett Bradbury. Way to have it on a swivel.
I think they should move him to tight end. No, I seriously think he should be moved to tight end.
Oh, I don't think he seriously should. But I was very pleasantly surprised by that play. That was a very heads up football play. Even though the game is well out of reach, you could see the determination on his face. I was really proud of Garrett Bradbury in that moment, because he looked like a professional to me.
He didn't give up. He didn't give up like the majority of players on the team. He still had the heart in him. He hustled. Yep. He caught the ball and ran as hard as he could, and he trucked. Oh, yeah. He couldn't bring him down. They had 4 guys trying to bring him down, and none of them could tackle. Themselves jumped on him at the same time.
He looked like a guy who was like, if I run this thing into the end zone, the refs are gonna make up a rule that makes this game equal at how right. They're gonna whatever this touchdown is gonna be worth, it's gonna bring us right back. And quite honestly, had he scored on that play, could you imagine how lit up that freaking sideline and how deflated that Green Bay sideline would have been? That would have been absolutely insane, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, shout out to Garrett Bradbury, because that was really cool, and we've kind of chewed on him quite a bit throughout the season with his performance at center. So, feels good to mention him in a positive light.
Of course, it has to not have to do with his blocking. Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's just we don't need the But I mean, okay, so there's so much offensively. Missed reads. Sean Mannion, Kirk Cousins in prime time out here.
That first drive of the game, that read that he missed when he tried to throw the ball to Ham on that 4th down.
Oh my God. That was the worst thing I've ever seen. JJ could have walked into the end zone. Wasn't
KJ open too?
I think KJ was too, but I think JJ was the deep shot that was wide.
Yeah, open. JJ was
yeah, so that was horrible. Then apparently at some point, Sean Mannion maybe hurt his hand. Maybe.
Then why didn't he come out of the game?
He either hurt his hand and it was very brief, just a little strain that got fixed pretty quick, or Zimmer and the coaching staff got smart for a second and then realized that they were really smart and it scared them, and they were like, no, we can't be this smart. Oh, I don't like it. It doesn't feel right. And then they put him back in, because Kellen Mond played
One series.
Well, yeah, I think it was only 3 snaps though, right? And I think he threw every single time.
2 or 3 for 5 yards, yeah.
And one of them was almost a pick six. That
last play was okay. But the people. Here's the thing though, when I go on Twitter and I'm seeing Mon getting ripped for that last throw, Mannion was making that throw every play basically.
Oh, dude. No,
it's like how are you gonna rip him for one throw like that? It's his first series in the NFL at a regular season game. Why are we giving him crap for that? Sean Mannion's a 9-year vet who hadn't thrown a touchdown coming into this game as an NFL player. Like he made one bad read. I mean, come on. I don't know. That angered me a little bit.
Because I think the people that are saying stuff like that also are kind of showing their hands that they don't completely understand football, to be honest, because the Green Bay defense, this was in the fourth quarter that Mond came in. The Green Bay defense was already up by was it the full 27 that they were up?
It might have been 20. I don't know. It was 27.
It was either 20 to 27, somewhere in that.
20 to 27.
Yep. So basically, the defense knows fourth quarter, 12 minutes left on the clock, that the only thing this offense is going to do is throw the ball. Now, not to mention, that they're going to throw the ball on third down and more than 4, which I believe is exactly what it was. It was 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, something like that. So they're going to throw because of the downage. They're going to throw because of the situation that they're in. And then you also know that it's a rookie QB. So he's going to make his reads slower. He's not going to be able to shift your defense as much. He's probably going to communicate where he's putting that ball almost right away with his eyes, because he doesn't quite yet know how to look off a defense, at least at an NFL level. So, of course he's going to look like he's going to throw a pick six here or there. Guess how many pick six Trevor Lawrence has thrown? Guess how many pick sixes Zach Wilson has thrown? All these guys. Guess how many pick sixes even the better quarterbacks that are rookies have thrown in their years. These things happen. So for you to say that Kellen Mond was going to be worse out the gate because he was a rookie versus Sean Mannion, I completely beg to differ. I think if you would have put Kellen Mond in Sean's position leading up to the week, literally the exact same position, had he that morning that Kirk went on the COVID list been told, hey, you're going to be starting, because not only had he been practicing all of that week, unlike Sean Mannion as the second string quarterback.
He was practicing with the twos the prior week against the Rams.
With the twos the prior week and leading up until when Sean got off the COVID list.
Yep.
If you take all of that into account, he, in my opinion, is going to be far more prepared for this than Sean Mannion was. That's what I don't understand. That's where I completely lose faith in Zimmer and some of this coaching staff in their ability to grade their own players and understand the situation that they are in, and understand that Kellen Mond probably gave them a better opportunity just out of pure athleticism to win this game than Sean Mannion did. And that's where I get really disgusted. I will give Sean Mannion credit, though, for as much as I'm beating into him about how unathletic he is, he did lead this team in both passing and rushing. So he is kind of a modern day Lamar Jackson.
Oh my God.
Sean Mannion, 2 carries, 14
yards. He can thank Clint Kubiak for that one, actually.
9 carries for 13 yards.
He can thank Clint Kubiak. Okay. Dalvin Cook, 9 carries. And then you go to the receiving, he only had 3 receptions for 0 yards. Dalvin Cook is arguably your best player on offense. Why is he getting 12 touches combined, receiving and rushing? I don't care that you're losing the game by almost 3 touchdowns. You can still throw him the ball.
I agree that they should have definitely been throwing to him more out of the backfield. I was a little pissed off, and by a little I mean very, very, very pissed off yet again with Mike Zimmer when he made a comment, I think it was after the game, about how we got away from the run game too early.
Yeah.
It's hard to stay with the run game, Zim, when they know that you not only don't have a quarterback that should be, not in the NFL, but I think if you trot Sean Mannion out, even in college, he looks like a doofus at this point in his career. So not only does the defense have you there because they know you're not going to be able to throw the ball more than 10 yards on them. Well, actually 10 yards, that's saying something.
5, so yeah.
Maybe 5. Yeah.
Yeah, let's say 5.
So you're not going to be able to throw more than 5 yards on this defense. What are they going to do against Dalvin Cook, one of the shiftiest runners in the league? Yeah, they're going to stack the box. They're going to stack the box a lot.
Yeah.
And
play man coverage. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Because
quite honestly, I would play zero. I would zero blitz them like every time.
I mean, your corners don't need help. As much as how good JJ is, I mean, Sean's not going to be able to get him the ball 20 yards down the field. So what's the point?
No, it takes him. Normally, a ball is out. For those of you who don't know, a quarterback's full from snap to throw motion should be within the range of 2 seconds to, on the high end, like 3.8. You know, if you get to 4, you're pushing it. You must have a real nice offensive line. Sean Mannion, this isn't a real stat, by the way, but Sean Mannion, when you watch him, it feels like just taking the snap itself, not even dropping back into the pocket and starting his reads. Just the snap itself feels slow in motion, so slow in motion that it takes like 3 seconds for him to get the ball from Bradbury. For Bradbury to pick the ball off the grass and for Sean Mannion to take it from under his crotch, it feels like 3 full seconds elapse in time. That is how slow things move when you're watching Sean Mannion. And
well, did you even talk about
Tom Brady is like making everything go in slow motion and making some reads way.
Well, did you even talk about the throwing motion? I mean, he's 6'6". It's like over the top. It's weird. I don't like it.
Yes. I'm forgetting the TV show, but have you seen that clip from the quarterback TV show?
Is that commercial?
Throwing motion? No, it's from a TV show, and he's got like the super limp, weird wrist throwing.
Yeah,
motion.
I know.
Oh my God.
No, it's
It's just so bad. It looks like somebody who is trying to act out what it's like to throw like a quarterback. Just way too over dramatic. So forced. Just the strangest, not the strangest throwing motion, but I don't like it. So yeah, point is Sean Mannion, I hate him. I hate him. We hate him. We didn't like it when they re-signed him, even to the practice squad.
I've been saying this for months.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. He's a waste of a roster spot.
Yep. Absolute waste of them. Yeah. Yes. 100%. It's games like this that make you want to clean house. And I mean everywhere. Yep. I hate this so much. I hate this team. I hate this front office. I hate this staff. I hate them all. I hate him. So I guess I'm kind of telegraphing where my opinions are going to be next week when we really dig into all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we haven't even talked about the other side of the ball yet, which is the defense. So I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about the offense? Because quite honestly, screw this offense. Screw Clint Kubiak. Screw Mike Zimmer. I was just so appalled. If I wasn't eating one of the best steaks, shout out to my dad, that I've had while I watched this game at home, I would have been throwing up all night watching this game. Throwing up all night. It was that bad on offense.
You can just tell that, like, my last point on offense, it's like you can just tell that, like, Clint Kubiak and Mike Zimmer are clearly not on the same page. It's just getting John DiFilippo flashbacks. These two are like on opposite ends. They don't know what's happening even. Like Zim's telling them to run the ball more. Clint runs the ball, but it's right at their defensive line's best player. We run it right up the middle to the defensive tackle, and obviously their defensive tackle is Kenny Clark, their best defensive player on that line, and it just gets plowed back because our interior is our weak spot on the offensive line. We don't run it to our strengths, our tackles. we just, it's just, you can tell that Clint gets frustrated because every time we get stuffed trying to do the same run up the middle, and then we try to pass, and then Zim's frustrated that, we're passing the ball too much, even though that's the only thing we can basically do. So it just shows that the staff's got to go. They're not on the same page. Zimmer wants other things. It's not going well. Clint doesn't know how to call plays.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I see a lot of people that are saying, well, after Sunday night, this should prove that the coaching is the problem. And then there's people that are like taking sides on it, whether it's Zimmer holding Clint back or
it's both.
Clint holding the offense. Thank you. It is both. Zimmer is too stupid to tell Clint to just go out there and have fun. And Clint is too stupid to probably even say anything but yes, sir, to Zimmer.
Yeah.
Always, because he is
he's only there because
because of nepotism, because he doesn't have any right to be. I'm very, very ready for all of this to be over. There's a few coaches on
Monday should be a good day.
Really hope
I should say that
we keep, but I'm done with it. What? Sorry?
I said Monday should be a good day.
Monday should be a good day. Yes, Black Monday.
Even though Mondays are usually not a good day, but I would hopefully it's going to be good for us Vikings fans. Let's just say
right. And I do want to actually say, no, I'm going to say it now while I'm thinking about it. To be completely honest with you, and I've talked with other Vikings fans too. Some of them share the same sentiment, so some of them don't. I've given up on this staff for where the Vikings are moving, and I think where they should move just because of the players and cap and all this kind of stuff. But 8 years ago, when we first hired Mike Zimmer, I was really excited, and I have met Mike Zimmer, and he is an amazing human being, and I really like him as a person. I think that he is going to go and be a fantastic defensive coordinator somewhere like he has been in the past. I mean, he's a Super Bowl winning coach. He's a good guy, and I'm going to wish him nothing but the best in the future. And I hope that he takes pride in being a Minnesota Viking for 8 years and what he did for this state and for these fans, because he brought us a lot of really good moments.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it's not time to move on, that there is a time to move on. This isn't Mike Tomlin. Zimmer's had multiple seasons now where he has let not only his team down, but fans down. Yep. And everybody has circumstances. What's the Bill Parcells quote that somebody was just talking about? How it's like 5 things that you don't want to happen every day in the NFL. And if you can't take that, then you're not fit to be a coach. And that's not necessarily a bad thing that Zimmer isn't fit to be a head coach in this league. A lot of people are not fit to be head coaches in the NFL. More than there's only 32 openings is my point. And Zim, we love you for what you did, but it's time to move on from you. We thank you for what you did, but we want somebody to bring us a Super Bowl, and I don't think that he's going to be the guy.
He's not the guy anymore. I think the game's just kind of passed him up. Yes, he can be a good defensive coordinator, but it's gotten to the point where he can't control the entire team. Mostly, it's kind of
it's probably just better left at exactly that. So I think that or I hope that Vikings fans give him some sort of applause if anything is leaked Sunday morning as far as it being his last game and all that kind of stuff. I really do think that he deserves some sort of recognition from the fans. Other people may disagree with me on that, but yeah, Zim, as a human being, I want you to know, not that you're going to probably ever listen to this, but we love you. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt for everybody involved. Don't get us wrong, but there's light at the end of the tunnel for, I think, both sides coming out of this. That's the big thing. So with that being said, quite honestly, let's take a look at the defense, because the defense is Zimmer's baby. It is what he cares about the most. And I mean, this defense played damn well for a majority of the first half.
Yeah, they did. They did their job. I was really impressed. I mean, they didn't get the most pressure on him, but they disguised a lot of coverages versus Rodgers, and he missed some throws. I mean, it might be on him a little bit, but you could tell that he was a little flustered. I think what screwed us really was not switching the matchup between Patrick Peterson and Devonta Adams. Those two needed to be matched up every play. It really cost us. It really cost us when Chris Boyd when Chris Boyd was playing on Devonta Adams. It's just not fair. Devonta Adams is the best receiver in the NFL. That can't happen. Chris Boyd is not a starter in this league, and he proved it yet again. Yes, he made one good play, but that's not getting you a.
No, God, no. It's not going to get you anywhere near a starting gig in the NFL, especially. And you know, you brought up the perfect point. You brought up the perfect point, T. How does the defensive back guru of the NFL not have Patrick Peterson covering Devonta Adams on every single snap? How does the most knowledgeable guy when it comes to defensive backs not have that happening?
Yeah, it's just inexcusable. I don't know why that's not happening. He has so much experience too. Why can't he just switch sides? I mean, he's a really good player. Why can't he just
shadow him? Why can't he just do like a Jalen Ramsey move? Just follow him wherever he goes. Because Adams is going to line up in a bunch of different places.
He's going to line up in the slot. He's going to be He's going to do it all. That's how good he is. Yeah, he's going to do it all. And we're not saying it's easy to cover him, but Patrick Peterson's a guy who can cover him. We know that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think that you brought up a great point, and that's where things kind of started to fall apart. Was that
once that Adams-Rodgers connection started to get going, other guys started getting open, and it really, the second half, you could just tell the defense was flustered because the offense, there was no complimentary football. The offense did its job. Let's just say that.
Yet again, you bring up a perfect point. You basically beat me to the punch. I think that, you know, your defense, especially in the NFL, quite honestly, I think this is at all levels, but even more so in the NFL. I think that your offense needs to consistently, at the very least, sustain drives for more than 3 plays. You need to give your defense time to rest, and you need to put the other offense in a situation where they stay aggressive so that your defense can still have somewhat of an edge as far as kind of knowing situation-wise what they are going to try and do. So the Vikings defense played amazing for a majority of the first half, because the majority of the first half we were holding Green Bay to 6 points. Then our offense continues to falter.
It just kept going.
Yeah, right. But they're going out there basically with less and less and less time to rest in between these series. And that's when those things are going to start happening, that Rodgers to Adams connection, and then everything else is going to kind of stem from there. Your Aaron Joneses and your AJ
Dillon. Then the run game opens wide open. Right, and exactly. Yeah, we saw that, especially early in the second half. Yeah.
So while our defense ends up letting up more points, I think that this is not a game where you can just look at the final score and be like, oh, wow, Minnesota played bad on all fronts during that game. Like, no, actually, Minnesota came out and dominated, at least on the defensive side of the ball for them, a majority of that first half. And had they had maybe a quarterback who should have been, I don't know, vaccinated and would have helped his chances of seeing the field Sunday night, they could be a 8-8 team right now and still
could have been a game, man.
In the hunt for
We'd still be in the hunt. We win that game. We're literally right in the mix. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way as far as the Minnesota Vikings are concerned. That's the way it is for Minnesota Vikings fans. We have nobody to blame but ourselves, and why shouldn't we? We should blame ourselves. It absolutely is fair. We did this to ourselves. So, yet again, your Minnesota Vikings, they lose 37-10 to the Green Bay Packers. They get trampled all sorts of different ways. Not only do they end up losing out on the playoffs, but they also end up giving Green Bay home field advantage through the playoffs. By securing the number 1 seed in the NFC. So with that, we move on to an absolutely meaningless game between two trash teams. The Minnesota Vikings will face off at home to close out the 2021-2022 regular season, with the Chicago Bears coming to town this Sunday. It's only a couple days away. Tyler, tell me, how are you feeling about this game, and what is the score prediction that you have for this game?
How am I feeling about this game? Oh, man.
I'm not going to ask you, what the key is, because I don't necessarily know if you want there to be a key to this game. Let's put it that way.
Right, yeah. Man, this game's tough. I mean, as a Vikings fan, you never want to see your team lose, but as a fan in general, you don't want to see your team lose, but it's like this game doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it is the Bears. It is a divisional game. I guess you could say that, but like in regards to a higher draft pick and looking forward to the future, I think that's what this team has to focus on right now and put their prioritization towards the future. Yep. I want to get out of this Zimmer era. Let's move on. Let's focus on next year's Vikings team. Let's get some guys in there that don't have experience and are young and can get a game in like this. This is still a regular season game. The Bears are going to be playing starters. People are going to be taking it seriously. Get some of these younger guys on the field. Give them some experience. Give them a game in this league. I think that's huge. I don't know if Kirk really should be playing. I hope he doesn't actually play the whole game, if I'm being honest with you, because it's a game that the Vikings don't need to necessarily have. I want to see a guy like Wyatt Davis get in there on the offensive line, especially. I don't know how many guys we're missing now because I think Brian O'Neill got activated the other day.
Yes,
I believe. I don't know how many guys we have on the COVID list right now for the O-line, but Wyatt Davis is a guy who should definitely be getting reps in this game. But I don't know. This game just doesn't. It's not cutting it for me, man. It sucks to be sitting here in this position, but I don't think the Vikings have to win this game. I mean, it would be nice to sweep the Bears. It definitely would. But in the end, what's it going to do for your draft position? I think this team needs to focus on next year. Get that higher pick. If it's a couple slots, that's huge. This team needs a cornerback, and I think that'd be a huge prioritization for this team.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to argue with you there. I think that this is a game, quite honestly, just agreeing with you out the bat. I'm never going to say the words, I want the Vikings to lose, because I don't feel like that's a true thing that a fan can say. I think a lot of fans jokingly say that or say that out of anger, but no real fan of their team ever really wants to see them lose. In a perfect world, it's like, hey man, not only do I wish we could go 17-0, but I wish we could like pull off the fleece of a decade and trade with the most losing team to get the number 1 pick on top of it going into next year. Like you just always want the best for your team. So it's tough, but I completely agree with your take on it. I don't think that Kirk Cousins should see a snap. That maybe is where you and I differ a little bit, because like at the very least you could probably say, well, Kirk could play for the first half, and if we like blow out the Bears or like play really well against them in the first half and then trot out our second and third stringers in the second half and then lose, it's like, well, we would have won had we kept in our starters. Yeah, you could move forward saying that if you're a Vikings fan or whatever. Give yourself a moral victory. But here's where I stand on that. I want to see my second and third stringers, or anybody who you plan on genuinely building around next year. That is all I want from this game. That's all I want to see. And quite honestly, if I was the GM, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. If anything, I feel like every day I'm seeing more and more rumblings that Kirk is going to get a contract extension. I want Kirk Cousins to be traded. I want him to go somewhere else. I think there's plenty of landing spots that make sense. I think we'll talk about in the offseason if an extension doesn't come out, right away for some reason, which I don't actually even legally think it can. But yeah, that's something we'll definitely be getting into. So as far as I'm concerned, sit the dude. I don't want to see him because in my mind, if I'm on the team, he's not going to be my quarterback next year. So,
well, no, I don't think you take the risk of him getting hurt then if you want to move on from him.
That's a great point too.
That's just how the front office, if the front office feels like they want to move him this offseason, I don't see why you put him on the field.
That's a fantastic point that I hadn't even thought of. I was purely thinking from a evaluation standpoint.
Yeah.
That's a great point too. Don't risk tanking any sort of value in a trade with him getting hurt. And for that, as far as that matter goes, like, dude, an ACL tear, if you're not planning on trading him and planning on trying to re-sign him, would freaking suck in the last week of the season too, because he's probably going to barely be recovered by the start of next season. So yeah, screw that. And that kind of goes with a lot of different players. It's tough because in this situation, obviously my point here is I want to see Kellen Mond, right? Like I want to see him start and play throughout this game. I want to see what he's got. I want to see him get a full week of practice with the ones, which obviously is not happening based on Zimmer's statement about Kellen Mond after the game about not wanting to see him because he sees him every day in practice. Anyways, point is, I would love to see what he does with the weapons around him. I'd like to see, is this a guy that the Vikings can build an offense around? Can we trade some guys, get some more draft capital, and use those picks other places to fill other spots of need? And, run with maybe, if you're really not liking what Kellen Mond has, can you sign like a bridge quarterback? Anyways, I'm getting way more into the offseason.
Yeah, that's all good.
The point that I'm trying to make here basically is I want to see guys that really need evaluating. Your Monds, your Wyatt Davises, your Cam Bynums. I want to see all those guys get.
I'd see Surratt, even though if he's healthy.
Surratt, absolutely, yeah. I want to see all those guys get meaningful snaps. On their respective sides of the ball. So in that regard, I think that should be the key to this Vikings game. Not necessarily a victory, but this key to this game. If you trot out those guys and you win, more power to you. That's
more power. Yeah.
That feels good probably moving into the offseason if you're able to do that for those guys. But if you lose, you get a better draft pick. And no matter what, we're going to be second in the North, so we already know who we're facing next season as far as our schedule and all that kind of stuff. So nothing changes there, even if we lose to the Bears. As far as a score prediction goes, though, I think, sadly, the Minnesota Vikings are probably going to win this one. Not, again, in the good way that I just explained. I think they're going to win this one. I don't know. I could see Zim telling the guys in some sort of meeting this week or
it's his last
game that it's his last game, and then them coming out,
playing hard
cylinders.
Yep.
So it's probably going to be something like 31-10, Minnesota Vikings. I also just don't trust Justin Fields to play at a high level, to be completely honest with you.
Is Justin Fields starting this week?
He's starting. Yeah, Matt Nagy made that public 2 days ago.
Damn it. My prediction was going to vag on Andy Dalton. No, damn. Shit. If Fields is starting, oh, man. I'm going to go with the Vikings then if Fields is starting. I'm going to be honest with you. If Dalton was starting, I was going to pick the Bears just because of that game last season. He stormed into US Bank Stadium and got a win. I just feel like he's got our number for some reason, specifically at US Bank. But I'm going to say if Justin Fields is starting, I'm going to take the Vikings, and I'm going to go – I think it's going to be kind of a dud. I'm going to go 24-20. I mean, Vikings are going to squeak it out, get like a stop at the end of the game. It's against the Bears offense. I mean, it's not going to be that impressive. We'll squeak it out just because it's the Vikings against Zimmer's last game. You know, we love to squeak out wins. So why not? Yep. Why not? That's how you end the era off, baby, with a squeak W.
That's great. Yep. Keep the well, I shouldn't say streak because that implies that it's ongoing because it's not a streak, but keep the 1-score game record alive as far as in one season goes. So,
there you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose my mind if that's what happens. At least I'm getting paid on Sunday.
Hey,
I get paid.
There you go.
Vikings game.
That's great. Good for you.
All right, buddy. Well, with that, I'm gonna hand it over to you. So that's the end of our Vikings talk. Let's get on to some games around the NFL. I think you said you had 3 or 4. How many?
Yeah, I'd say 4.
All right, sweet.
Let's start off with your second favorite squad, shall we?
Let's go.
Let's get some high spirit going on this podcast. You know, kind of a little bit of negativity around here. You know, kind of.
Let's go.
The Las Vegas Raiders pick up the biggest win of their season last Sunday, man. Indianapolis, 23-20. Daniel Carlson game-winning field goal. You know it. Former Viking. Everyone's a former Viking. Yeah. I mean, just what a game. I mean, the Raiders, you know, they've dealt with so much this year, and for them to get a win like this it's good. I mean, it's awesome. They ran the ball well. I mean, Josh Jacobs only had 63 yards, but they committed to the run at least. They gave him the ball quite a bit. What I was really concerned about, though, I mean, Carson Wentz looked terrible. The Raiders' defense did a good job containing him, but I'm going to be honest with you, Carson did not look great. And I think the COVID really bit him in the butt. I really think that kicked him in the butt, man. His throws, his reads, everything was off. But the Raiders took advantage of it. They got a dub. It is what it is. It's the NFL. You'll take any win you can get. Now the Raiders next week are fighting in a freaking one-game playoff, basically, on Sunday night versus the Chargers. Biggest game of the century in the Death Star. I don't know if you're ready for that one. I know you're going to be watching. I don't know. I know you're going to be watching.
Okay, but, like, the weirdest thing, have you seen the playoff scenario going into this week? Like, the possible playoff scenario?
No.
So theoretically, if
they tie,
I mean all so right.
Yeah.
So all the Raiders need to do is win, right? So going into this week, the Raiders, all they need to do is win and you're in. Okay. But they play Sunday night. So the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Colts play during the day, and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens play during the day. Now, if the Colts and the Ravens lose, if the Colts and the Steelers lose, then no matter what, the Raiders are in. If just the Colts lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars,
which they did last year.
And they haven't won in Jacksonville in like
I did see that. I did see that. Like that. I did actually see that. Insane. That's crazy. That is a crazy stat. I had no idea. Insane. I saw it on Twitter the other day.
So if the Colts lose, but obviously the Steelers still win, then all that the Raiders and the Chargers need to do to both make it into the playoffs, and mind you, they're playing Sunday night, is they need to tie. So theoretically, on Sunday night, these guys could meet up, shake hands, and be like, we're going to do nothing but kneel the entire game.
Honestly,
we're going to
because that game is happening earlier in the day. So
no, that's what I mean. This Raiders-Chargers game is the last game of the day. So they will know going into it what they need to do. That is what is absolutely hilarious about this situation. I'm sorry, it's just too good. I could not say something. Anyways, go Raiders, go Jags. Honestly, I don't really care about the other game, but go Jags. That would, because I will lose my mind.
Oh my God. Go Jags, baby. T. Lawrence.
Okay, anyway, sorry. Go for it.
Actually, you know what? That's perfect because we're about to go into game of the century right now, baby. Who day, baby? AFC North champs. Let's go. Woo! Yes, beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You're defending AFC champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bengals said, screw it. Joe Burrow goes crazy again. 446 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Monster. Absolute monster of a man. I am consistently blown away by how good Joe Burrow is. I'm honestly shocked, Tyler, that you did not show up today wearing the Joe Burrow jersey. I feel like there was a very big missed opportunity here for you not wearing the Joe Burrow jersey.
Tonight? Well, I'll wait till next week because the Vikings don't have a meaningful game. Actually, no, the Bengals don't either because I think Burrow's playing. He's sitting.
He's sitting.
Yeah, he's sitting. Well, playoffs. He always got playoffs. You know,
baby.
And you know that. The Bengals are my team in the playoffs. We all know that. Come on.
Yeah.
But I'm just so impressed with the Bengals. This team they went from just trash to now they're back. It's just what I want to see the direction I want to see the Vikings go to. The culture change with the Bengals. You know, they were trash and mediocre with Marvin Lewis under center, right? They bring in Zach Taylor, an offensive-minded coach from LA. They get the perfect quarterback. They bring in his wingman, the freaking wide receiver from LSU. They pick up a ton of dudes on defense that they signed from free agency. They've basically revamped the entire defense. They keep some of their guys like Jesse Bates, but they revamp the defense. They get 2 good edge rushers in Hendrickson and Hubbard. And, I mean, this team the defense is a lot better. Yes, they did give up 31 points, but it is Kansas City. I mean, it's hard to stop Patrick Mahomes. But the offense is who's going to stop this offense, man, when they're playing at its best? I don't think there's a defense in this league that can stop Cincinnati on offense. I really don't. I don't see it happening. I don't think there's one defense.
Wow, that's that's hard to argue.
But the way Burrow's playing, though, man, like when he's playing at his best, like this guy he's got the ceiling to be one of the greats in this league.
Yeah, dude. I'm just racking my brain trying to think of a defense that could like legitimately slow them down. It's a solid argument. I think that I'm also like racking my brain because you brought up the situation for the Bengals and how you want that to kind of turn into the Vikings deal. And it's so funny because it's like, yeah, they went from Marvin Lewis to
mediocrity.
Marvin Lewis, though. Marvin Lewis. Why is that such a powerful name for Vikings fans? Because Zimmer was Marvin's defensive coordinator. So holy crap. So basically same idea as far as like the coach. Like they come from the same tree, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
You got a star LSU player out there. Potentially, if the Vikings make a trade with their starting quarterback, which Cincinnati
pick up the man from the future, pick up the guy for the future, maybe get a guy like a Matt Corral who might have some injury problems, like Joe Burrow has some injury problems that he seems to get over. Dude, absolutely insane. I know. Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
This is why the Bengals and Vikings and Bengals are my 2 favorite teams right now.
Just saying. It's pretty interesting when you start thinking of it that way.
And of course, their game this year comes down to freaking overtime. It's just like, it's just you can't make this stuff up. You really can't.
There's your defense that kind of stopped Joe Burrow. I mean, barely, but enough to put him in the winning situation.
Yeah, I don't know, but in the end, to just recap this game, Cincinnati's AFC North champs. I hope they win this week though, because I think they're second. They need to maintain that second seed. I think in the AFC right now. I don't know if they have a chance because I don't know who Tennessee plays this week. Right now, Tennessee's in the 1, I believe.
Yeah, they are.
Tennessee's in the 1. I don't actually. Cincinnati. I don't know. It's either Chiefs or Bengals 2-3, I think. But they need to win this week to maintain a higher. I'd say hopefully 2. So they can hold field throughout the first round. What I'm saying. So if they win first round, let's say, they still have home field going into the next game.
I know that there is a crap ton of different scenarios for
the scenarios.
AFC week 18. So they're probably
right now they're sitting at 3. Right now we're sitting at 3 against Indy as a 6.
And they're only a game back, I think. Yeah, they're only because the Titans are 11.
I don't know. Shouldn't they have the tiebreaker or can't? I don't know. I'm confused. I need to look this up. But hey, man, big dub. The next game I just wanted to touch on. I mean, 2 NFC powerhouses going at it. One of your favorite players, Kyler Murray, got the dub against the Dallas Cowboys this week.
8-0. Kyler Murray is 8-0 in Dallas.
I love that stat. And he wasn't a Cowboys fan growing up, which is hilarious.
Isn't that so awesome? I love that.
Yeah. I mean, the last time I think he played the Cowboys, I was on like a Monday night, and they absolutely destroyed Dallas. I think it was last year, but I don't think Dak played, so I don't know. But this game obviously meant a lot more to this team. The Cardinals were kind of on a skid. They weren't really playing the best of football after losing to the Lions. They didn't seem like the Cardinals that we'd seen in the beginning of the season when they were just blowing out teams and dominating on offense. Their defense was playing well, too. This is a big win for them. Dallas is a good team, but they did not play great. Dak Prescott, I mean, he did not turn the ball over with interceptions, but him and Ezekiel Elliott, this offense needs to get on the page of running.
I think this offense that you're talking about with Dallas needs to get on a page of throwing the ball to their playmakers maybe a little bit more often, or, actually scheming up ways to get them out of coverage. I'm really not understanding why Kellen Moore is in all of these talks for head coaching positions.
He's got all his weapons and they're not doing anything.
Well, he's got all right. Exactly. That's my point. He's got all these weapons, but like, look at CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper these past couple of weeks. They are nothing compared to what they were doing the first however many weeks of the season. It's like somebody figured out something.
I think they got to put more trust in Zeke. What I was trying to get my point at. I mean, only 9 carries for 16 yards. That's basically what Dalvin did this week. And when you do that, when you give your running back 9 carries and basically under 20 yards, you're not going to win the game. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
That's a tough way to look at it. By the way, just real quick, Kyler Murray, not only was he not a Dallas Cowboys fan, he's a Minnesota Vikings fan.
I know, which is great, which I love. That's probably why you're on the freaking bandwagon. I'm kidding.
Hey now. I've been a Cardinals fan for a while, and I like Kyler
right. All right.
Add a way to rile me up. Tyler. You're hilarious. What's your last game?
Let's talk about the Monday night game. I mean, there's not much to really talk about this game. Baker Mayfield looked horrendous, and that's putting it lightly. That's putting it lightly. That's putting it lightly. But the man to talk about is the quarterback on the other side, Ben Roethlisberger. Last game in the league, actually last home game, I should say. Sorry, yeah. Did not have a great game, but that's Steeler football. It wasn't pretty. The defense stepped up. Roethlisberger didn't have the greatest game, like I said. Turns the ball over as well. But Najee Harris, 28 carries, 188 yards. Just insane. The defense, TJ Watt, gets the pressures on Mayfield. That's Steeler football. Physicality. I would just dominate your opponent. That's a signature Ben Roethlisberger win. I thought it was cool, like how he got to take the kneel after the game. He was like in the interview, he was like, that's the perfect way to go out at home with a knee. That's how you want to win. Victory formation, man. That's just nothing better, man. Nothing better than going out like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, Big Ben did a lot in this league,
especially in his prime. Yeah,
right. And I so for Pittsburgh fans, like that's got to be hard to say the least. I would be shocked if it wasn't hard in some ways. But what a cool thing too for him to bring Tomlin his 15th straight season.
Yeah. Right.
Without a losing season. I mean,
which is insane.
I shouldn't even say straight. He's never had a losing season as a head coach. Absolutely crazy. 2 probable legends in the Steel City in Pittsburgh. So very, very cool. Very cool moment for sure.
You know, it's hilarious. Actually, I don't even want to bring it up. It's just so sad. The Tomlin.
No, I know exactly what you're thinking is hilarious, and I thought about it too. But there's
been so many ties within the Vikings this entire episode when we've been talking around the league. Just everyone's tying in with the Vikings in some way, which is pain.
Yeah, that's an understatement, bud. It's an understatement. Well, I believe that's it, right? Yeah. Right. So that's gonna be it for us. We will be back sometime next week. I would assume Tuesday, but who knows? Times are crazy right now.
Yeah.
Things are hectic, and quite honestly, depending on how that game goes, I still might have boiling blood.
Oh God!
Depending on how the news drops on Monday, or what news maybe doesn't.
We're gonna have to see what happens Monday. That's gonna be
If my blood isn't boiling by the end of Monday, then perhaps we'll be able to record on Tuesday. Right. If not, we'll for sure be seeing all of you listeners next week at some point. But that is it for this episode of Vikes with the Mic. As always, make sure that you check us out on YouTube. You like, comment, subscribe. We love interacting with you guys. Check out all of our previous episodes. They're archived on our website, www.vikeswiththemic.com. Follow us on Twitter. We have an Instagram as well. Just support the podcast in any way, shape, or form that you can, because we love making content, and we'll do it as long as you guys enjoy listening. We're looking forward to the off season. If that is not clear enough,
right,
try to make that very clear. I'm super excited to talk ball. We're going to have some people on the show, hopefully throughout the off season, some guests talking Minnesota Vikings and, NFL football in general. Plenty of draft coverage again, getting super, super stoked. Heads up, more than likely the schedule will change in the off season as it did last year, where we will not be recording once every week, probably more so once to every 2 to 3 weeks.
Once the Vikings news kind of
right. Depending on Vikings news,
it's gonna all depend on when you see Vikings storylines and news, and
absolutely
you'll expect an episode from us within.
But with that, I think that really finishes it off. So. Even though the season is over a week early, we want to thank you all so much for listening. The 2021-2022 season was a million times probably better for us, to be honest, because of this podcast, giving us a way to vent with how excruciatingly hard to watch this football team is. So we just want to thank you all very much. And we will be back next week. As always, thanks so much for listening, and skol.